Okay, so your state of being is a state. It's a location that you travel to, or circumference. It's a space, right? So it's based off of how you feel inside, is where you travel to. The ideas, the imaginations, the feelings that you have, and the feelings that you hold on to create emotions. And that world, that illusionary world that you swim around in when you get to know those emotions, right? It's like this is what is creating all of what is outside of us. Everything you see in the external came from an internal space, right? Like right now, I'm in a parking lot, right? And you might have envisioned and dreamed and seen yourself before you drove to that particular parking space. You had an envision in mind of working this particular job because you applied, or what it might be like. You envisioned eating particular foods that you have eaten before, that you are familiar with the flavors, so you can kind of know what to expect sometimes, and you can react and respond based off of how those differences are, whether it's the same flavor or if it's a different flavor, or you expected it to be like this and it's actually like this. And when we deal with unpredictable situations and circumstances, when we deal with things that we didn't expect to happen, or there's these type of energies that you feel like is unwarranted and things like that, whatever is going on around us, it came from an internal space. So right now we're experiencing a full moon. Full moon at your 9 to 5, you feel me? So it's like whatever seeds was planted during the new moon is being flourished and seen right now, whether it could be the way someone feel inside, or whatever they had going on that they might not have released. This might be the time that it is actually released. Things that people might have shown before, things where it's like, how sometimes you can create an emotion or you can create a feeling when you're at a particular location, a job, or workplace, right? Where it's like you might put on this face, you might put on this smile, you might put on something that you're actually okay with, like you're actually okay with it, but you're really not. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you're at the workplace and there's all of these different emotions and things going on, by the time it gets to a full moon, people real feelings, how they feel, can start to come out, or whatever, or even more of trying to create this facade of how they actually feel to uphold whatever they had going on. But when we come from the Leo moon, like we just had the Leo moon or whatever, when it's Leo, it's like that's when shit hits the fan, you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily the time where people hold back as much. Things can be expressed, things that you're entertaining, things you're being entertained by, whatever you have your attention on, whatever the sun is focusing on, whatever actions, whatever is bright right there, whatever, and so this is why it's important that you are aware of yourself, your state of position, you squaring out your circle and your circumference or whatever, and everyone else around you has their own state of being, and they have their own circumference, and they have their own way of thinking, and they have their idea, and they have their imagination. And it's important that you are aware of yourself, because when you're aware of yourself, you're not allowed anybody to manipulate you. You're not allowing anything done to you that you didn't necessarily consent for, because you might think that you are a good friend, or you're a good person, or you're a good parent, or you're a good coworker, worker, employee, or whatever, if you allow things to happen to you. You might think, like, for some reason in the world, that's kind of how things have been constructed to be like for us to be influenced by, where we feel like us sacrificing, taking the shorter end of the stick, or us not saying how we really feel, and all of these things means that because you allowed this and you wasn't able to be in your true state of being, it means that you somehow have a more percentage, or you're on the better side of the spectrum, or the energy, or whatever. Like that's better to hide who you really are, and it's better to create these shadow things. But it's like be whoever you're going to be or whatever, but when what you have going on is based off of how another person is going to receive or react, or, you know, you're doing this so that this person, and, you know, it's like you swimming into other people's worlds, and you don't want to ever be using your mind to think about how you think another person is thinking, especially about you, you know, or reacting or responding to you. Nobody knows the meaning and reasoning behind someone else's mannerisms, or what it means for another person to do this or that. Of course, there's body language and different forms of communication, and things might be deeply rooted, and people might be right about the things going on with somebody else or whatever, but to ponder and to swim and to be in that area and to be in that water, where it's like you thinking more on a percentage level of everybody else around you than you are yourself. And I feel like so many times throughout my life, I realized that was the issue. You feel me? For me, just having the wrong things on my mind. Then I start feeling all of these different emotions, and I start feeling all of these different things, and I'm having a hard time understanding why I'm attracting this person, in this circumstance, in this situation, and this whatever. I didn't understand, right? And so I'm grateful that I've been able to have a better understanding of patterns and cycles and different things that I've experienced with people, places, and things, and my own habits, and the things I've been able to learn about myself as my situations and as my surroundings and as my circumferences and everything, as they start to change, as they start to transform and travel and stuff, and I see myself starts to transform, and you know, it's just about me adjusting, it's me adapting, you know. So I'm on break right now, and you know, I've just had to make this message